30 days ago, I quit building online forms for myself, and now I let Claude build them for me. I've built hundreds of forms over the last 25 years running my business. You name it: JotForm, Google Forms, Typeform, SurveyMonkey. But in 2020, I found Tally, and I haven't looked back since. Tally's free tier is super generous. I used it for a long time before I actually upgraded to a paid plan, and I only upgraded for a couple of extra features, but it's absolutely not necessary. I have set up dozens of my clients on Tally, and today I'm building you a real Tally form live, start to finish, and then I'm handing that exact same job to Claude. If you want a robust form builder without the crazy fees and without needing a tech degree to set it up, this one's for you. So let's first go into my Tally account and have a look around. So over on the left-hand side here, you'll see different workspaces that I have with different forms in those workspaces. You don't have to start from scratch though. You can start from one of their templates if you're going to build the form yourself. And as you can see, they have lots of templates to choose from. However, for this one, I'm going to build myself a form. I'm going to build it, I'm going to time it with me building it myself, and then we're going to time Claude doing exactly the same thing. So we're just going to start with a new form. And here's where most people get stuck. It's not necessarily the technical building of the form. It's what do I even ask on this form? What questions do I need? How do I format it? All of those things. That's the challenge with this more than the technical setup of a form of any kind. And you wouldn't believe how many forms that I see that a client has or a student has that's set up and active, but there's no submission button. There's no thank you page. There's no next step. We've got the wrong information on the forms. It happens 80% of the time. I see those forms that are not set up correctly. So I've already drafted the questions and the thank you page, which can take some time, but again, you can use AI to help you with this if you want. But that still is part of the time consuming part of building a form. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to compare my time in building this form, and I've got a lot of experience with building forms. So if you don't have experience building forms, it's going to take even longer. But we're going to compare this, me doing it myself, to Claude doing it. And as I do that, I'll show you some of the features within Tally. Okay, let's start the clock. So I'm going to put in the name first of all. And it's as easy as doing / to insert blocks, but you can also do it with this plus sign. So this first one that I'm doing here is name, email, business name, website, and phone. Okay, so I can either do / to figure out what kind of question I want to add in here. So for short answer, I'm going to put in first name, and I'll show you why I separate first name and last name. And then an easy thing to do here is to just duplicate that. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so the easy way to do this is to just click those 6 or 9 dots there and click on duplicate if it's the same kind of form field you're looking for. So last name. So here's what I would do. I would actually create a new page in between these. So I'm just going to click this, go down to new page. So which basically means like just one screen of this will show at a time. And the reason that I do this, I'm just going to delete this extra one that was created there. So first name, because here I'd love to be able to start personalizing it now. And so at this point, this is a field that it can pick up in this field. So I'm going to use the @ symbol and I'm going to pick up their first name here. So it's going to say, Kim, great to virtually meet you. What's your last name? Right? So right off the bat, I'm trying to personalize for them, which is great to be able to do with Tally to pick up these extra fields that we've already put in here. All right, so we need to add the business name now. So again, you can click on the plus sign and choose one of the questions if you want, or you can just type the /. And for this one, we're going to do short answer, company name, and we want a website because we need to do a link. And this is going to be website. Now I'm going to make this not mandatory because they might not have a website. So I'm just going to click here and I'm going to turn off required. So for every form field, there are some options in here that you can add if you're building this from scratch. And I actually forgot email and phone number. So let's add those in now. So I'm just going to click the plus sign and put in email, email, and then we'll do another plus sign and phone number. And for the phone number, You can click these dots again here, and we could do an international format or just a regular format. If we do an international format, then you can turn on a default country code. So let's do United States because that's where the majority of my clients and customers are from. Or they could always change that to Canada, the UK, or whatever. All right, so you can see we're already 4 minutes in, and we literally have done 2 screens here. So here we're going to create a new page. We'll go back to our draft here. So section 2, what best describes your business? So this one I'd probably do a drop down or a check fields maybe. So I'm going to copy this and we're going to do / let's do drop down. Okay, and now you can see how long this is taking to do all of these things one by one. And for this one, I'm going to add the option for other. So if their business doesn't fit into this, their business model, they can choose something different. So for this one, I actually I used the wrong um, content type. So I can turn this into another content type down here, but not all options are available. So I'm actually going to have to take this one and delete it. And I'm going to do a different one instead, which is the long answer. Okay, so again, I've messed up the type here. So I'm going to take this out. What time are we at? 9 minutes in at this point, which seems like nothing, except that when you have to create multiples of these every week, potentially, you can see how this could be time consuming. So we're going to delete this one and we are going to add another one here. And this one is going to be checkboxes. Not at all. Actually, you know what? Let's do this one as a drop down again, because we just want them to answer one of these. We're going to do a payment link here. This is another cool feature of Tally, is that you can directly connect it to your Stripe account. So you can take payments on these forms as well. And then I would connect with my Stripe account here, which I will do after. Okay, so we've got our guarantee under here. And now we're going to do our thank you pages. So these are the pages that would show at the end of Tally, depending. So in my case, I've got 2 different pages that are going to show up. One if they're a good fit, one if they're not a good fit. So I've got my thank you page 1 here. And I'm going to turn this into heading 2. And I'm also going to use their first name here. So thanks, first name, got your details. Now pick a time that works for you, blah, blah, blah. I can fill this in later. And let's do another thank you page. Okay, so this is their not a good fit. And again, I've got a little bit of work to do, but for the sake of this video, I want to make sure that we get through it. So something else I really love about Tally is that each of the pages, whether it's a thank you page or another one of the what we call pages, meaning a section of the form, can be renamed. That way, when we're doing conditional logic, like I'll show you conditional logic, but as we do that, we know what page we're linking them to. It doesn't have to just say page 7. And again, these are only for me to see, not for the person who's filling out the form. So for this one, I'm going to put not a good fit. And for this one, I'm going to say good fit. Okay, now we need to, based on their answers, either send them through to this good fit, thank you screen, or this not a good fit, thank you screen. And so the way that we're going to do that, see there's mistakes in here. Let's describe your business. Okay, this is the one here where we would add conditional formatting or conditional logic, meaning if they answer under 5 hours, this is not a good fit for them. So I'm going to click the plus sign. I'm going to do conditional logic right here. And so when they answer under 5 hours, Then we're going to jump them to the page, which is the not a good fit thank you page. Otherwise, they'll just continue on with the form. Okay, so let's say the form is built. We're 16 minutes in at this point. Okay, so we're 16 minutes in. That's 16 minutes of my time that could be spent doing something more productive. I want to show you a few more features of Tally here. So the settings tab or the settings icon up here, the cog, you want to make sure that you adjust these however you want to adjust them. I'm going to put the progress bar on mine, and I want to send email notifications to myself when someone completes the form. And so I'm just going to click on Save Changes, and then we're going to go back and we're going to customize this a little bit so it looks like my Brainy Girl brand. So I'm going to click on Customize. We're going to use Lato. I'm going to grab my brand color here. So let's use this one for the button background. So you can see that just changed there. And the button text is fine. And for the accent color, we'll use my pink. So that's there. There's lots more options here. What's the base font size? You know, do I want my logo in here? Now this for me is going to go on one of my web pages. I'm going to embed it. So it is not a standalone form, but if it was, I could add a cover or add a logo as well to the top of the form. If I'm just linking to the form, for instance. Okay, so that is basically it. You make sure it all looks good and it works the way you want it to, and you click on Publish. Now we're going to get the link to this Tally form here. You can go into integrations, and there's lots of integrations with this. So I normally connect this to a Google Sheet so that other people, either my AI team or my human team, can tap into this and see the results without actually logging into the Tally backend. The submissions are all kept here in the backend. There's also insights, you know, how many people visited the form or saw the form, how many people actually dropped off, how many full submissions were there, unique respondents. So it's got lots of insight data as well, analytics you could call it. But for our purposes, this is done now. So we're at 19 minutes and 10 seconds. So I'm going to pause that. Okay, so that's how long it took me to do this Tally form, and that's with experience building these forms. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over to Claude and we're going to get it to do the same thing. And we're going to see how long it takes. So before we get started, you need to make sure that Tally is connected to your Claude account. So to do that, you're going to click on your settings on the bottom left. Then you're going to click on connectors. You're going to add a custom connector. You're going to put in something like Tally MCP. And then I will drop the link to that you put in here for the remote MCP server URL. You can also get that from the Tally website, but I'll drop it in the description below, and you just pop that in here and click on add. Now your Tally account is connected to your Claude, which means it can then build within your Claude account. Once you've got that connected, you're going to come down still in connectors to Tally forms, and you're going to make sure that all of these are either turned on, toggled off, or that you've adjusted the settings for each one of these. Now for me, as long as it's not going to delete full forms, I am fine with giving it full access, but you have to do that based on what your comfort level is. If you have this on needs approval, all you'll have to do is make sure that you approve each step as it's asking you. So you set that up the way that you want. This is just the way that I'm setting it up right now. Okay, let's go back out of here and get to our thread. Okay, now what I've done is taken all the fields that I put in the form myself, and I'm going to feed them to Claude. And I'm going to use my whisper flow, which just dictates, which makes it a little bit quicker. Hey there, can you create a Tally form in my Tally account called? And this one's going to be called by Claude V1 because we're going to run this again, but we're going to run it with the skill that I've created for it to see what it does and how much better it is. I'd like you to use my branding colors and my brand font. I'd like you to put it in the Brainy Girl Services workspace. So I have this on Cowork, but you could also use this in chat, like Claude Chat as well, as long as you've got the Tally MCP connected. And I'm just going to use Sonnet 5 high, but you could certainly use 4.8. But it's not that much of a complex task that I can easily use Sonnet 5, save myself some tokens. All right, so we're going to start the stopwatch, and then we're going to let Claude get to work. I'm going to move this over. And yes, this is a widget that I built with Claude that I can now use on my videos, which is awesome. So this is going to tell us what it's doing right here. And the really nice thing about this is, though, even if it takes a few minutes to do, I can go on and do other things. Like I'm building YouTube thumbnails for this video right now while it's doing its work. So I don't have to be there and be present. If it asks me a question, I can pop back over. If it needs permission, I can come and do that. But I don't have to be looking at the screen at all times. I can be doing something else. Okay, perfect. So we're at almost 6 minutes. But again, this is 6 minutes that I didn't have to spend. Now it's finding the tools. Okay, so it's confirmed the workspace and it's ready to build. Needs a few things for me to fill in the gaps. Perfect, it's now saving as a draft. Here's what it built. So I'm going to pause that. Now here's the best part. For those 19 minutes and 11 seconds, I had to actually be working in Tally doing that. For these 11 minutes, I could do something else. I made 2 YouTube thumbnails in that time and 3 B-roll graphics for the video. So I didn't have to be doing it. So I can let it do its work while I'm doing something else, which is the big benefit of this. All right, so it's told me everything that I need to know. It's given me the link to the form. It's called this, so it's called exactly what I asked it to call it. Let's go over and have a look. Okay, so here's the form it created. It actually even put like this kind of branded pink background in the back. Let's have a look. It's got my branded pink button. It's even renamed the sections, which is fantastic. Looks amazing. It's got the conditional formatting in here that we wanted. It's structured things slightly different. In fact, I like the way it's structured it better than the form that I built, quite frankly. And so all I have to do is connect with Stripe here, add some placeholder stuff from information that I didn't give it, and it's literally done. That's 11 minutes of my life that I can't get back, that Claude just did something on my behalf so I don't have to do it and I could focus on other tasks that were on my list for today anyways. So now let's do one more test. We're going to run the skill that I created for it to interview me about what kind of form I want to build, and then it goes to work building it. So let's do that now. Okay, for this, I'm just going to ask it to run the skill, and I can use just regular natural language, or I can use my skill builder slash tool, which I can just type slash and then find a, let's see if I can find it, Tally Form Builder. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to run the Tally Form Builder. Again, I'm just doing it in Sonnet High. Let's try it in Opus 4.8 and see what happens. Let's start the timer so we can compare this one as well. Okay, so it's going to ask me one question at a time. What kind of form is this? So this is an intake or application. So this way you don't have to know everything going into this. Not only do you not need to know how to build a form, but you don't even need to know what questions to put on the form. So this skill is amazing. Again, if you want it, I'm going to drop the link to my community below. You can go grab it from there. What do you want this intake form to accomplish? Qualify leads. Let's do that. Okay, who's filling this out? Probably warm leads. Okay, so it knows to keep it a bit more familiar if it's a warm lead. Do you already have the exact questions you want on the form? Let's just say draft them for me. So now it's proposing qualifying questions for a lead generation form, which is amazing, right? Now, I don't have to use these. I can change these, or I can challenge it, or I can edit these myself. Does this question set work, or do you want to change anything? Let's change the timeline to get started. Okay, would you like it to be a different answer options, reworded, or a different type altogether? Let's put a different type altogether. Again, I'm not telling you what to put. I'm basically saying you do some of this thinking for me as my thinking partner here. What type would you prefer for this timeline question? Let's do a date picker. Okay, so timeline number 8 is now a date picker where they choose a target start date. What should the form look like? Let's do it like my brand. And I already have my brand standards and my brand guidelines and my brand voice in Claude. So it knows all of that already. Which Tally workspace should this live in? Let's put it in services like the other one. So we're at 2 minutes and 50 seconds right now. What should happen after someone submits the form? I'm going to say just a thank you message. Simple thank you message. I'll draft warm confirmation copy. Do you want any hidden fields? Nope, no hidden fields. Perfect. 2 quick confirmations. Here's the thank you message. I read, what should I name the form? Let's call it that. And save the form as draft or publish it live. I'm just going to get it to save it to draft because I do want some human in the loop. I want to make sure that everything looks and works properly, which I have no doubt about now, but I still like to keep human in the loop because I just want to know as a human that everything works properly before it is published. Okay, so we're at 3 minutes and 55 seconds. And again, once it's asked the questions, I can go back to whatever I was doing. I don't have to keep watching it. I have this on one screen. I'm working on another screen so I can see if it stops and asks me questions. Okay, so all questions are in. Optional fields are set. It's doing the Brainy Girl branding, saving it as a draft. There we go. There's my form done in Tally. So I'm going to pause this. So that was amazing because I think my original, yeah, so this did it 3.6 times faster using the skill than if I actually gave it the information that I already had. But either way, it was still significantly faster and I got to do other work while it was doing its work. Okay, it says it's a draft, so nothing's live yet. Let's go have a look. Okay, so here's the form. The only thing it didn't do properly was it didn't put it in the right workspace. But that's an easy fix. We can actually just ask it to move it to the new workspace if we want, or we can manually just move it to the new workspace. But, it's not perfect. But boy, oh boy, that saves me a ton of time all the time as I'm building different forms. I'm building intake forms, testimonial requests, course feedback, all kinds of, registration forms, all kinds of forms. So let's see how it did. Looks pretty good. And then it's got a simple, could it have done better formatting? I think it probably could have done better formatting. But again, I didn't specify that. So those are some of the things. And it's very easy to change these on my own. So if I wanted this a little bit bigger, I just click on that, click on change to heading 2, and I've got it bigger.